Everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada. And you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com. It's Wednesday today, and I'm back on my regular schedule. So Wednesdays is the day I share a technique with you. So this week is pretty much back to normal. I think Saturday I probably will have to not be live because I have something else going on, but I think the rest of the week is back on schedule. So today is technique, and I'm going to share the Retiform technique. It's been a while since I've made a card, and as I was making the card yesterday that was very vintagey feeling, hey Betty, you did make it. I really had the thought that the Notes of Nature, which is from the Nature Sweetness product suite, it would be a great card for the Retiform technique. I find that the stamps that seem to work well with this, at least I think they work really well, are kind of the vintagey, eclectic kind of stamps. And this one is definitely one of those that's eclectic. So as I said yesterday, this is the bundle, as well as the designer series paper, trim and cork rounds that we are using for the upcoming Creativity Abounds stamp camp. So if you're interested in that stamp camp, there's more information I posted today, but you can purchase what you need for the stamp camp and be registered starting tomorrow when the new catalog comes out. All right, let's switch over to my desktop and I will show you how to make a Retiform card. Okay, so first of all, this is the stamp set. It's called Notes of Nature. So we're just going to use a stamp set today. No dies, no punch, just a stamp set. I'm going to kind of keep it somewhat simple in that that's all you need for this. So when I said eclectic, it's got some great different sizes. They're smallish, they're not huge stamps, and some different ones that you can use across your Retiform shapes. I like to use masking paper, so I've got a package of masking paper, and I've pulled out Old Olive for my card base. I love the color combination of Old Olive and Pecan Pie, so that's what I'm using. So this is 5.5 by 8.5, and we'll score it at 4.25. And give our card base, so fold into the mountain and give it a good burnish with your bone folder. Like that. Okay, so I'm going to make this a landscape card. Then I've got a piece of pecan pie, which is cut 4 inches by 5.25. And then I've got Very Vanilla that's 3.75 by 5. So that's what we're going to do our Retiform technique on. Now I'm going to pull out, and I haven't cut this yet. It's a brand new package I had to go and grab. Okay, I think a 1 sheet probably will do, but we'll see. So you do need some different, so what, if you've never done, I don't have a sample of a Retiform card, but what we're going to do is basically create some shapes using the masking paper, and then we're going to stamp and blend or brush in those. Happy New Year. I'm not sure who that is, but Happy New Year coming in through Facebook. We're going to create some different shapes, and then we're going to stamp in there, and that's why you need the masking paper. And we're going to do some sponging using our blending brush, and then we're going to carry on and do the rest of the cards. So I'm going to cut some shapes. Well, not shapes. I'm going to cut some of this. I'm going to cut my masking paper in strips so that I can kind of mask off. We'll see if this is enough. I'll cut 3 strips for now. We'll see how that does. Let's put that back. Okay, so now masking paper is really sticky. So I always take my masking paper and put it on my sleeve or my pants, just to try and reduce some of that stickiness. So I'm just going to create a shape like that. I'm going to do the same. Oops, this one doesn't have there is a slit so that you can peel the masking paper off easily, but that one, I must have cut it off when I cut it. So I'm just taking mine and rubbing it on to my 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 sweater. So I'm just creating a shape that we're going to start with, and I often will start in the middle of my piece of cardstock, which is what I'm going to do here. Your shapes can be different sizes, different shapes. So I'm going to start with one that is a triangle in the middle, like that. I'm not pressing really hard with my masking paper because I'm not trying to stick it on. I'm just trying to create a shape. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use crumb cake, and I'm going to do just some blending just on the edges. Kind of is what makes it look a little bit vintagey. So I'm just kind of blending on the edges in the middle a little bit. Okay, so we've got that. Now I'm going to start, I think I'm going to start with Old Olive. And I pulled out, so I've got this leaf shape. I've got my splatter shape. And yeah, I've got this shape that has got the kind of words. It looks like almost a postage stamp or a stamp of some sort. And then I'm going to use this one that is the grids. Okay. Now these don't have to go in any particular, they don't have to go straight up and down. So we're just going to stamp this. And where's my pecan pie? Now the first time you do a Retiform technique, I think it's a little bit, some people find it confusing, but I think you just kind of have to take your time with it. So I've done that. Now I'm going to gently peel this masking paper off because I don't want to rip my paper. So just gently peel it back. I probably should peel them off one at a time in the order that I put it on. That probably would be better. That's okay. So I've still got my 3 pieces. So now you can see I've got a shape here. So now I want to cover up that shape because I don't want to stamp over top of it. So I'm going to just cover it up just right on the edge of it like that. And now I'm going to create another shape. And again, these can be as big or small as you want. So we'll create that shape. So basically you're just going to fill this entire piece of cardstock up. So let's do this one. And if you want to, you can stamp off. So it's not, I don't know what I wanted to do before I did that. I wanted to sponge with my crumb cake. There's a fair amount going on these Retiform cards. There we go. All right, and I wanted this. I'm going to stamp off on this grid. I just don't want it quite so. I'll put that there. And I think I'm going to put this over top of it, but I am going to stamp off on that leaf. So we'll just put that leaf kind of in the corner. So it really is, it's kind of a collage technique as well. It's just that you're getting these kind of shapes and lines as you go. And again, once you take this kind of some of the stickiness, so you can see that I've got those 2 triangles. So let's take and do, and you can have some of these, and I've seen some Retiform cards where these shapes are really very small, which gets quite fiddly as you're maneuvering your pieces of paper. So I'm going to make it that triangle. Only need 2 pieces for that one. I had 2 blending brushes here earlier, and now I can only find one. Okay, so here's the blending brush, and here's my crumb cake. So with this kind of blending, It definitely looks vintagey. So we've got some other shapes in here. Let's bring some of those in as well. So there's a little flower or stem of some sort. You can find a block. There we go. So we will do that in dark pecan pie. Okay, and then this one. And let's do some splatter in maybe crumb cake. Like that. Like I said, there is, yeah, I know it does always looks really messy, and you kind of can't give up on it until you get to the end. Now, if you can see, I've left a little bit of a line here, and I didn't mean to do that. So I'm just going to take my blending brush and just blend a little bit of the crumb cake over that line, just so it's not quite so obvious. Okay, so again, let's take and do, and some maybe by putting your masking paper a little bit so you see a little bit of the edge of what you're covering up. That way, it's kind of like when you're doing masked images, you don't want to have the shape exactly perfect on it. You want a little bit of the image, so otherwise you get a halo appearance, which is what kind of I got there. All right, let's put that there. Now let's go back to this stamp. I probably should have, that's a baby white. I was going to say I should have my stamp and scrub, but a baby white works just as well. All right, so I'm going to use crumb cake for this. And like that. And some splatter. Let's do some splatter in green. So it's really just about mixing and matching. Oh, and I forgot to do my blending. So we'll do it last. Don't think it really matters. If you do it more solid on the kind of on the edges, you will get more of a kind of a distinctive look to your edges, to the lines. There's a few techniques that you kind of have to, you can't give up on, because they do kind of, like Betty said, they do kind of look a little messy until you get them done. Now I'm not going to go really little on my shapes. I'm going to keep them fairly large. It takes less time when you do that. So we'll do some more blending. This glass mat is amazing because you can just kind of wipe it off. It's so lovely. All right, let's do, I don't know what colors I've stamped in now. That's kind of have to, if you want to be, kind of keep track, you should, but I didn't. So we're just going to stamp and hope that it all turns out. I'm sure it will. And then, oopsie. Take that off. It's looking pretty cool, actually, I have to say. Look how cool it looks. Definitely has that vintage feel. And then I've got, on this one, I did get a little bit. I didn't get that masking paper right up to where I wanted it to, but that's okay. Okay, so I'm going to put that on like that. And like that. And there's another piece. Okay. Let's use this grid like that. Cleaning all my stamps with this. What color did I use? Okay, so let's use the Old Olive. So if you've never done collaging before, this is kind of like collaging. Oops, and then I forgot to do my blending. Get all excited trying to think about what stamps I'm going to use. Okay, there. Don't have too many left to go. Like that. And like that. Oopsie. So your masking paper starts to lose. It definitely starts to lose some of its stickiness, which is okay. By the time I'm going to get done this, it really is going to just go into the recycle bin. Wipe that out. Oh, and then I forgot to do my blending. Getting ahead of myself here. And if your ink runs a little bit when you blend, like the way I'm doing it, if you do it first, your ink won't blend, or ink won't kind of smear. The way I'm doing it, because I'm kind of doing it second, your ink may smear a little bit, but that's okay. That's kind of part of the vintage look. And I've got one spot left here, one little square to do. Now, I wouldn't say that I would love to make a ton of these cards. They're really fun, and I really love the look of them, but they're a little fiddly. So, you know, you probably just want to do the one. Oopsie. My masking paper is definitely losing its stickiness. There we go. All right, now I need one more. Trying to remember what I have down in this. Okay, so I'm going to do this in like that. Okay, there we go. There is what the Retiform looks like. So you can see the lines. I could have done a better job of really kind of making those lines be really obvious, but I think it looks pretty good. If you want to, some areas I've got that are quite a bit lighter, like this middle one where I started. So you could spend a little time and just kind of go over it if you want. But other than that, that's what the Retiform technique is. So let's take and put it on our card. So we've got that. Where's the rest of my card? Okay. Like I said, I'm keeping it pretty simple because the Retiform is what you really want to be the star of the show. Betty, you are so funny. A few years ago, somebody did order, I can't remember, 175 or 75 maybe. 75, I think, cards from me. And oh my gosh, there was a fair amount of die cutting. I have to tell you, it took me a long time. And it also, by the time I was done, I was pretty tired of the card that I'd made. It was a lovely card. Okay, so there it is. Let's put a sentiment on. So I've cut a piece of very vanilla, and I'm going to use the sentiment that says, what does it say? Something about your birthday. It says, today is all about, actually I'm not. I'm going to use the little note, I think. Okay, so I'm going to stamp it in Old Olive. Just a little note to say hello. And we'll just trim this off. Hey, Connie, you made it. Okay, so then I'm going to cut a little tab end in this one. And this is going to go on like that. I'm going to take and cut. There we go. Very good. And we can use some dimensionals. That on like that. Oops. Get it even along the edges. There we go. And then I'm just going to glue this flat since I've already popped it up the one layer. All that work and I'm covering part of it up. Okay, like that. And we need something for the inside. So let's clean this off and stamp this leaf. That can go on the inside. Not upside down. Like that. Now, somewhere I have, these are the cork rounds. So these are the adhesive backed cork rounds, and they're really cool. So let's use some of them. 2 different sizes. There we go. That is a Retiform card. I really like how that turned out. This stamp set, the what's it called? The Notes of Nature. Somewhere I've got I've only got the insert. I've pulled it off of the case. So the Notes of Nature stamp set really is, I think, perfect for this Retiform technique, and I absolutely am loving how it looks. So if you're interested in the stamp camp, there's more information on my blog. You can pre-register and I'll put your order in tomorrow when the catalog goes live, or you can go in and order the products that you need, and I give you the list of what you need. If you're watching from the US or another market, reach out to me and I will give you the name of a demonstrator who can help you in either the US, the UK, Europe, and the South Pacific. So, because we have demonstrators from all over the world. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me tomorrow. Normally on the last Thursday of the month, I share the thank you cards that are going to be part of the thank you kit if you put an order in with me through the month of January. I didn't do that because I was off, and so tomorrow I will be sharing the 3 cards that are part of the thank you kit that you'll get if you put an order in. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me. Hope you have a great day. Happy stamping. Bye.